Today is November 6th, 1995. This interview is with Rabbi Israel Leiter. The interviewer is Ann Lieb. It is in Brooklyn, New York, the United States of America. The interview is in English. My name is Ann Lieb, and I'm interviewing Rabbi Israel Leiter on November 6, 1995. Could you please tell me your full name and spell it?
Israel Leiter. I-S-R-E-L L-E-I-T-E-R.
Could you please tell me the city and country you were born and spell it?
Chemerinitz. C-I-E-M-E-R-I-N-E-Z. Yeah.
And this was where?
It was in Poland.
And this was near another city?
Yeah, Przemyślane. Lwów and Przemyślane and Lwów.
Could you spell Shemeshlani for me?
P-R-E-M-Y-S-L-A-N-E. Lwów. L-W-O-W.
Could you please tell me the date of your birth?
June the 26th, 1910.
And how old are you now?
This is, you can't know. I mean, this if everybody can count.
Could you please tell me about Jewish life in your hometown?
Jewish life in my hometown was very religious, nice life, ethical, and very prestigious life.
About how many Jews lived in your hometown?
I mean, this is, later on we lived in Przemyślane. So this is, I will speak about Przemyślane more because this is in the beginning, just we were, but Przemyślane was about a few thousand people, I mean about 2,000 or 3,000 people, the Jewish people.
About how many synagogues were in Shemeshlani?
Was about 5, 6 synagogues. 6 synagogues. And then we in Lwów, I was raised mostly in Lwów also.
Could you please tell me about your father? Could you tell me his name in a
But
little
you want
bit?
to say about Lwów? I can say in Lwów was 150 synagogues. And my uncle was there, the rabbi there, Rabbi Leiter was the rabbi in Lwów.
Now, you came from a rabbinic family.
Yeah.
Could you tell me about your father? He was also a rabbi.
Yeah.
Could you tell me where he was a rabbi?
He was in Chemerinitz. Yeah, in the beginning, yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about him?
He was a Talmid Chochem,
A scholar.
a scholar and a very, very smart man. All kinds of, this is what I want to say.
How old was he when he passed away?
He was very young. I mean, this was 18. He was about, just a minute. He was 19 before about, I think, 50 years, 55 years.
Could you tell me your mother's name and her maiden name?
Yeah. My mother's name was Friday Turner. She was born in Pomorze, Pomorze in Yiddish.
And she also died young.
Young, yeah.
So could you tell me a little bit about your education?
Yeah. As I told you, in the beginning I learned by I saw Avrohom Pravert. He was the man, the examiner for the Yeshivas Chachma Lublin, the famous Yeshivas Chachma Lublin. Whoever wants to be accepted there, they want to go to him and he examined them. And he gave the okay, then they accepted. He was a great Talmid Chacham, a great Gaon. And then I learned by the provisional roof, and also in Lvov, by my uncle, and I give also in Ternopil. This was, and then I had also an examination in Lvov for Matura. This means the high school, the gymnasium. This was an external. I learned, it was taught private, but then I went to the official school and as an external, and then I passed. I have even the document. Actually. Then here, when I came here, I started also Brooklyn College, but I stopped because I became a rabbi.
So in other words, over there you were able to go to private tutors, and then take the exams.
The exam as externisto, you know what I mean.
So you were
because,
an outside
because
student.
the Orthodox people, students, yeshiva students, they didn't go to school, but I wanted to have the school, so I went private, and then also
So you studied some secular studies.
Studies, yeah.
So what were some of the secular studies that you studied as well?
I was a mathematician mostly, and history. It was that I liked it. Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about how you were ordained as a rabbi?
Yeah. I was ordained first by the Rabbi David Horowitz, the rabbi of Stanislav, first smicha, first and then the other Shmuel Führer of Krosno, and then the rabbi in Ternopil. These three smichas. This means all the documents that I passed the rabbinical examinations. And then when I in Europe was like such as not like a system. Everybody can become a rabbi there. When they had to become a rabbi, so the city gave out in the paper that they are looking for a rabbi, and they came candidates, and they delivered speeches, and then whoever was, they choose two, whoever were the best, and then in the city they became, everybody, the whole city had to vote which candidate was they wanted. So when I sent my application to be a rabbi in Dunayev, this is near Lvov, near Przemyślane, so they chose me, and the second they chose Rabbi Moshe Steinberg. He is now a rabbi in Israel. But I had more votes, and then they chose me. But later on, there was a system that you have to send the three smichas, the three, the documents that they passed the rabbinical exam. So there was a committee from three rabbis, the rabbi from Reich, Rabbi Levine, the rabbi from Podvolochitsk, Rabbi Babat, and the Rabbi Sorochkin of Lutsk. They met in the ministerium, you see, in Warsaw. They met there every month, and whoever was chosen, all these that were chosen as rabbis, they examined the smichot, the documents. If they liked the documents, so they gave the okay. If not, they didn't. They refused. So thank God they refused. They gave me the okay. So then the ministerium sent the the okay to the starostvo. This means the government from the city where from Dunaiv. So and then they also the government has to also to give the okay, and then I became the rabbi there. So
could you tell me for a minute what type of questions did the rabbis who were giving you smicha, what did they require? They
require all the halachot, all the laws, the religious laws. You see, about Saturday, about all kinds, and about him, because they used to come to the rabbis, the sports, like the rabbi was like a judge also when some people had between themselves, and also about what is kosher and what is non-kosher. Mostly there, you see, there every rabbi had all kinds of questions every week, because they used to kill the chickens by themselves, not like here. And there was, according to the Jewish law, when the chicken was sick, was something on the liver or something, so you cannot eat this. So the rabbi had to know this, because there's a special study about this, which when you can say that it's not kosher, when it's not kosher, and also about all kinds of problems also. So this is also the laws, the Jewish law. So this was a very important exam. This exam was you had to learn, study 15, 20 years until you can pass this exam. So.
And tell me how much Talmud, Gemara, you had to know for the exam.
Yeah, I mean, this is the rabbi who gave the smicha. So he spoke, he asked questions, so forth. He has to know all the questions. He spoke a few hours, and he asked all kinds of questions. Questions about kosher, about Sabbath, about law, civil laws, about all kinds of the rabbi should have to know.
Did you have to memorize anything by heart?
No, I mean, just answer the questions, the laws, because this was a hard work. It was not easy to become a rabbi in Europe like here. And the rabbi was only one rabbi in the whole city. It could be 50 synagogues, and the one was one rabbi only. The rabbi has nothing to do with it. Here is like the rabbi conduct the services. The rabbi doesn't have to conduct the services. He was the rabbi of the whole city. All kinds of problems, all kinds of this. He was like the mayor of the Jewish mayor of the city. So this was a different title and a different, prestige.
So when you were chosen to be the rabbi of Dunayo, how many synagogues, how many shuls were there?
Yeah, we had 5 synagogues.
And you were in charge of all?
Of all, yeah, but the rabbi went usually to the main synagogue only Saturday in the morning. And other days you can go where you want. My uncle was a rabbi in Lvov. There was 150 synagogues. And he didn't know even where he downs, but they know that because there was a special court, a Jewish court in Lvov, and there he had to say he was there. The rabbi also performed the marriages, and even all this also the dates of when everybody was born. So the rabbi gave him a document when he was born. The rabbi was a different type of system like here. Here they just became a rabbi and a little shtibel, and just to conduct the services, but there was, everybody can become a rabbi here. I mean, it's not so easy, but not like that. And the questions, all the halachat, it was very important responsibility. So
your uncle was in charge of the whole Jewish community in Lvov. What was his name?
Not Leiter, but the same name. There was in Lvov was two rabbinate, like a rabbinate. So he was in one, and in the other, another rabbi was also there. There's 2 rabbis.
Could you tell Tell me about your brothers. They were
Yeah.
also great
Yeah,
rabbis.
yeah. One became a rabbi, and Gvozis, the elderly rabbi, the older rabbi. He was a very intelligent man, and he was also an author of a book, Socialism and Yadis. They translated here in English. And he was a great speaker. He was also from the Pala Gudi. He was like he gave the theoretical, like you say, from the movement. And
What was his name?
Yankov Leiter. He had a family, a very nice family, 3 children, and he was killed in Belgium. They took away them. And the other brother was in Ruf in Jagostov, Augustov. There was also was 2 candidates, Rabbi Sorochkin and his son and he, but they chose him better. So
What was his name?
Zvi Leiter, and by him, he was when the Germans came in there. So they didn't kill yet nobody, but the Gestapo came to him. He said the Gestapo wants to speak with him. They discussed with him. So they took him away. We don't know where he disappeared. I mean, his wife was that time in Lvov because she went to a doctor with a child. And so, and while she was in Lvov, and her parents were from Ternopil, so she went, when the Germans came, she couldn't go back, so she went to her parents, to Ternopil, also in Poland, and she was killed together with her parents.
Could you tell me when you met your wife?
Yeah, I met my wife before, I was engaged before Hitler came. And then we was married when the Russians came, 1940.
How did you meet your wife? Was it an arranged match?
No, there was, because my son and father-in-law was a rabbi, and he has a friend, and the friend know me, and it's not like a love story, but his friend met me in Lvov, and he liked me, so he called up and then also they came. She had a grandfather, and he was the famous Ruf also in Sandover Vishnya, Rabbi Leiter Babat, and his son was a very famous. He was later a rabbi in also in a big city. So they came to Lvov to examine me and to speak with me about Torah, about everything. And they gave the okay. So then I came to the Hobbits to see my wife. And then we met a few times more. But the first he had to give the okay her grandfather. And when he liked me, so then he called up the son-in-law, his daughter, and this became
So it became a match.
A match. So the wedding was already by the Soviet, 1940.
Tell me a little bit more about your duties in Dunayo.
As I told you, the same duties like every rabbi. He has to make speeches, and he has all kind. He was like the spiritual leader of the whole city. Just like all other, not only me. All the rabbis had the same responsibility. Questions, to answer questions, to all kinds of responsibilities from this is not a special thing.
Tell me about your grandmother.
I told you about my grandmother. So, my grandmother was 83 years, and she was I was with her. She was with me, Shemishlan, at that time in the ghetto.
Okay, tell me before that. You lived with her after your parents died.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about her personality, what it was like living with her?
Yeah, she was a very religious, fine woman, and she was very proud, of me. Just because I became already a rabbi and so forth. Like a nice Balbatische Frau, like you say.
And what was her name?
Rabbi Leiter.
So tell me what happened when the Russians took over the area. When exactly was that?
This was the beginning of 1940. 1940, because Hitler was there in 1939, and the 1940, the end of that 1940.
So the area that you lived in, this was under Russian control?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, could you tell me a little bit about life under the Russian control?
Yeah. You know, the Russian control was, the rabbis, they didn't have this power, and I mean, it was, for the rabbis, this was not the right place. So nothing, this didn't take too long, but the Russians were there, we were not too long, the Russians. It was, the religion was, everybody was different like before, because they said in the beginning that you have to send Saturday to school the children. But I found out, and I was later, I will tell you about this, find out when I was, but I will tell you this about later, when I was later the rabbi official by the Russians. Shall I tell you now? When the Russians came, so and so there was nothing, no, the whole Jewish life was not, because but them is the religion, they were, not only they taught religion, but every week came a teacher and he taught atheism. So the
teacher taught anti-religious.
Anti-religious, yeah. So in the schools and all over. But the Jewish, I mean, they went to the school. I mean, the schools, the yeshivas were already, but they went to the synagogues to pray and so forth. This they didn't. But the whole Jewish life became miserable. Also, I mean,
did the Russians come to you and tell you that you couldn't do certain things? What exactly did they do?
No. I mean, the whole this was, the rabbi didn't. I mean, they didn't like the rabbis. I mean, they didn't do nothing, but the whole rabbinate became very big. So later on, when after the war, you want to go? After the war, no.
Tell me about your wedding.
Oh yeah, the wedding was already not like my brother's weddings. The wedding was not in Drobich, but in where my son, my parents, her parents lived, but in Sandow Vishny, where her grandfather, the grandparents lived. So the wedding was there, not already in a smaller way like usually, but a religious wedding for natural, and some my brothers came, and some other family, but not like before, you see. Even the wedding was not in Drohobych, but in Sandow Vishny.
Tell me a little bit about your brother's weddings. What exactly was the difference?
The weddings were like here, I mean, very, with dances, with a party and so forth, like here the weddings. Maybe not so expensive, but weddings in natural was in Europe. Was weddings very nice. I mean, so all the families came. When my brother, the eldest, and because by us is before the wedding they call to the Torah, So my brother, the older brother, because there was the Chotki Rebbe, we were his Hasidim. So my brother went to Chotkov, not his own, and all the family, what this means, about 11 rabbis came that Saturday to Chotkov, and they make their big, a big kiddush, like by the Chotkov Rebbe, they come as speeches, and then even, I remember my brother told me this, when they went out from the synagogue, so the Rebbe told the Chusen to go first. So he felt so bad because it's written that the Chosen is like a king. So he felt so bad that he has to go first, because the Rebbe, the Chotker Rebbe was thousands of Hasidim. Yeah, and then the other brother also like that, but my was already by the Russians, so this was a different.
So it was much quieter
Quiet
and
and
smaller.
nature, smaller, yeah.
Who performed the wedding service?
So natural, my grandfather and our parents. I mean, but the brothers' weddings also, they all kind of rabbis. You know, they gave kibbutz, they gave to everybody anana kibbutz. But here was already in a smaller way because there was.
So where did you live? Where did you go to live?
Yeah, after the
wedding.
Yeah, we went to Pshemishlane already, not to Dunai, as a rabbi then wanted was, so I lived in Pshemishlane. And then, but this didn't take too long.
So the Russians were in control of Shemishlani?
Yeah.
And were you living
in Pshemishlane there was also the Belzer Rebbe, in the same city, in Pshemishlane by the Russians. And then also in the ghetto also we were, when the Germans came. And I was very close to him because my father-in-law is a Neinekl, this means a grandson from the Belzer dynasty. So I had some...
so there was a relationship.
A relation, yeah. So we were together, I was together in Pshemishlane by the Russian, by the ghetto also, by the Russian, then by the ghetto.
Okay,
And
when you first lived with your wife in Shemishlani,
Yeah.
what did you do? Did you work?
No, that time. This was a short time. I didn't do it.
Could you tell me, were you living with your grandmother at this point?
Yeah. And we live in the same. But later on, I will tell you about. I shall continue. No, later on, I will tell you this story. When then came the Germans, and we. So
do you remember when the Germans came into Shemishlani? Do you
Yeah.
remember the year?
The year was the end of 1940, the end, yeah. And then when they came, the Germans, so we were, the beginning is, I was not a ghetto, then was a ghetto, and the beginning, was one day, this interesting thing, one day, in the beginning, when they came, a few weeks, they were there, a week or 2 or 3 weeks, so they gave announced an order that everybody from 18 to 60, should come to the building of the gymnasium, the school, and they will go take them to work. So everybody, no.
About a day that all the Jewish men were called.
Yeah, and so they innocent, they thought to work, so we will go to work. I remember an uncle of me, a cousin, he fixed his shoes, he will go. So later on they took them to the wood near in Pshemishlane, there was a wood. And they told them to open graves,
to
dig, and they killed them, all of them. That time I was somehow, I don't know, smart. I didn't go because I was afraid, scared, and I ran away to somebody. I was there to the knife. I mean there. I asked a Gentile. He took me. And this was how I saved myself, because my cousin he was killed, and not that time they killed only men. When I came back, so the women remained, so they were innocent, they thought to work. In the beginning they didn't, and then we continued, in the beginning they killed like that, and then there was actions, they came and they killed some people, and then it is a ghetto, so we went to the ghetto in Przemyślane. There was the Belzer Rebbe also, and we went to down
Could you
there.
describe the ghetto? Was it a large ghetto or a small ghetto?
A small ghetto. I mean, what ghetto was means you should not go out from this neighbor. You see.
About how many streets were in this ghetto?
Oh, this was not too many. I mean, yeah, about 7, 8 streets. Yeah. So, and then also from the Belzer, one Friday was a great, just a minute, an action also. They started, the Germans, with the Ukrainians, they helped them. So they killed that time, they took the Belzer Rebbe's son, Moishele, they threw him in the main synagogue, and they burned the synagogue. But at the same time, they destroyed that time almost every synagogue. And also that time they went also, the Rebbe himself was in bed, he didn't feel well. He told him, lass mich nach. So they left him. This was like a miracle that time. So,
because the Germans came to get him too?
Yeah, because they went all over whenever they find a Jew that time, this Friday. So later on from Hungary, they sent an officer, a Hungarian officer, and he took the Belzer Rebbe and his brother. His brother's son is now the rabbi in Israel. He was
so they took him out of the ghetto.
Out of the ghetto, and they took him to the first, not to Hungarian, but this near Krakow was a city. So he remained there, and then this is how they were saved. They went to Israel, both of them, and his brother's son now is the rabbi there. But when we were in the ghetto, we helped myself. I had some, because there was also, near Przemyślane was how you call it, a walking, Yachtrov. This means they took Jewish people and they took them to work on the in the streets and so forth. They took even from the vision that time, people from the world. So, and the Unrat, and there was also a Unrat, maybe you know about this. The Germans, they appointed a few Jewish people, they will be the president. And so even the Unrat didn't know, they announced that people should go to they say to call to work. They should go, they had to help the Germans, this Unrat, this was him. So that time he was they talking about later on the family. But before when we were, so we knew I was a friend with a lawyer, from the Unrat, and also the daughter of the Belzer Rebbe Yentel. We also so maybe in the beginning we helped some people from the lagers. This means
the camps.
But later on they couldn't do nothing. So this is the way, when the ghetto, then it was Unrai. So when I lived by a Gentile, when I lived in Przemyślane by the Russians and then by the Germans. The Gentiles, she said, when she sees me, she thinks about her, about the priest, So he had some respect, because we lived there about a year. So when the ghetto, Unrein, this means they had no ghetto, no destroyed, they killed everybody. So the Gentile gave me a room, I was in a room, in one of the rooms. Even her husband didn't know that.
Wait, while you were in the ghetto, were they taking the Jews out? They were deporting them? Did they begin to deport the Jews?
Yeah, no. Later on, the ghetto, yeah, there was the deportation, but not all of them in the beginning. But then was Unrein. In the beginning was just a few people. They took them, but later on was Unrein. When there was Unrein, so the woman gave me where I lived. I was a tenant there. She gave me a room, and also, and the room is not enough because so they can come. The Gentiles came to look for the Jewish people. So there was such a. Before you go in to the house, on one side was such a little,
The hallway?
a hallway, a little. So she made a double
Ceiling.
and we went there. When in the daytime we were in between.
You were in between the two ceilings.
Yeah, ceilings. And then in the nighttime we went down and we were in the room. Even one time when the Germans came to look, because somebody told them that Jewish people are here. So we see they big, but usually they were the Jewish people were hiding in the schron, they call it, and they made such a
in the ground.
In the ground. So they thought that, and we looked and we saw them. So that time we ran away also.
Wait, could you tell me a little bit more about the ghetto? When you were in the ghetto with your wife, where did you live?
In the ghetto, we didn't live there by the Gentiles. We lived in the ghetto. But later on, when it was already very terrible, so we ran away. It was not too far. The ghetto was here, and in Corset Street, we used to live there.
So in other words, you were able to escape the Germans and run out of the ghetto?
Yeah.
Was there barbed wire around this ghetto?
No. This was just the not special wires, but signs that this is the ghetto and this is out of the ghetto.
Were there guards? Were there Nazi guards around the ghetto?
Not these 24 hours, but when they saw a Jew out of the ghetto, they caught him. You understand what I mean? But the Jews themselves didn't go out of the ghetto.
The Jews were afraid to go out of the ghetto?
Natural. They wear such...
the yellow star?
Yellow star, yeah.
Tell me about, while you were living in the ghetto, what type of food did people have to eat?
Was very hungry. I mean, from the outside, they bought from the Gentiles. It was very hunger. People starved from hunger. But more or less. And so later on, when the Gentile, the woman, was afraid because somebody told she was afraid they know that she keeps Jewish people. So one night she told us she will take us with her horses to our village, and there was Gentiles in the woods. So, but in the middle of the way she was tired and she was afraid to go so far. There was far, so she left me, and I myself had to with the horses. We went to this village, and then I knew where this village, because this village was not far from Donai, from where I was the rabbi.
What was the name of this village?
This village was Plinikov, yeah. So. This was near Chemerinitz, yeah. And then we went there to the village, and we went to the wood. I knew where this is, and we called up, so the people, they were there hidden in the graves. So they came out, and I told them who I am. So they accepted me. So
there were Jews hiding in bunkers?
Yeah, bunkers, yeah. We had also at a bunker. And I also, but this village was near, this belonged to where I was in Dunai with the rabbi. So they knew me, even the Gentiles know that I, because from the village also a few people belonged to our, maybe 50 people belonged to us, my congregation. So even the Gentiles knew who I am. They had some Gentiles, they had respect. So we went in the beginning, every night, every second night, we went to the Gentile near the wood. We gave him the beginning some money, and then we had some clothing. So he gave us some food.
So in other words, when you first came and stayed in the bunker at night, you would come out to
not every night, every second, every third night, yeah. But some of them, a few people there was, so they were good. They had some, pity.
They were nice
pity,
Gentiles.
Her name was Pcheslakovsky, an old woman, was a nice, very nice woman.
That was the woman you stayed with in Shemishlani.
Yeah. And then we...
Tell me a little bit about who was in the bunker with you and your wife.
There was a few people. Even some of them, even a young child she's now in Israel, and was while we were in the bunker. So there was not Germans in this village, but they passed by when they went from one city to another. Some people told them the Jewish people are in the woods, I was. So they went to look for us. And that time I was young, I was energetic, so I saw the trees, shaking. So I understand somebody's coming, so I told everybody, let's run away. We'll run away, but we had by us was a cousin, 17 years, she was a beautiful, nice girl. She was with us because her parents were killed, and but she saved, we took her to us. So
wait, you had a cousin in the bunker with you?
Yeah.
Had she been in hiding with you as well?
Yeah. So she ran away also with us. But later on, when she ran away, she left her shoes. And later on, we didn't see it was quiet. No, the tree. She thought the Germans went away, but this was they were hiding, and they knew that somebody they will come back. People will see that. So even when they saw she went in for the shoes, but they grabbed her, they took her. Later on, they told her to call us, but she was so smart, so nice, that she didn't call us the name, she called a different name, a strange name. So we understood that this is something there. So later on they were happy, we killed. In German they said we killed a nice, young, nice, beautiful girl. They were proud that he did it. So
what was her name?
So her name Tobe, a beautiful, nice girl. She was from the Basiarka. And then when the ghetto came, when the Germans came, when the Russians came, when the Germans were defeated, so we were in the woods still. But they came, we didn't believe that, they told us, we didn't believe that this...
How long had you been in hiding with the woman in Shemishlani? About how?
Yeah, this was a few months, yeah. And then we were hiding in the...
How long were you in the bunker?
In the bunker, I cannot remember, a few months also, And then they came, the Germans, the Russian came. The Russian came, we were liberated, So all that time, in every city, only a few people were saved, So the people were afraid to live in the villages by themselves only too, because even some Ukrainians, they were from the Hitler, they were so, I don't know. So they also they wanted to. They were afraid that because they took away all the houses and so forth. So to Lvov, and everybody came to Lvov. This is a big city. Lvov is like a very big city. So it was like a big city. So came In that time, I was they chose me as a rabbi from Lvov. So when I came to Lvov, so
So you became like a chief rabbi
the chief
in
rabbi in
Lvov.
Lvov, the official rabbi, and even from the government, the Russian governments, they accept me. You see, they have to give the okay. So at that time they gave me permission. I opened two shoes were, all the other shoes were destroyed, but one shoe was two shoes. I opened. They gave me the permission. We went to delegation. So we opened the shul of Vinglana 3, and that time it is about 15,000 people from all the
So 50,000 survivors all collected.
Yeah. So we had services, and even when every day services, and Saturday I also opened the mikveh. They told me, and also where there was later on Pesach, they gave me permission to make kosher Pesach, to make the flour, and also then we had shoichet. There was a rabbi. He was a rabbi. I don't want to say he's alive now because maybe he's here a big shot. That time he learned how to kill, shechet. So he was accepting the rabbi, but I don't want, because he will be embarrassed. Because that time he'll know this. So I accept him as the shoichet. Then was also another rabbi, became a Rabbi Leiter, also a famous rabbi. This is not important. So was an accident that time. So in Lemberg also, so they thought in the beginning that they had to send Saturday to the children to school. But I had also a friend, an officer, a Jew, a Russian. He told me they cannot do nothing. So according even to the Russian law, you cannot say you have to go. So this is against your religion. So once in that time was an accident in Kelts. There are 22 Jewish people already after the liberation. So they were killed, something in the I don't want to speak about this. So the same time was in Lvov, a child was disappeared, a gentle child. So they came all around the synagogue, and they say, the Jews killed him because they need the blood for matzah. This is an old, So, and this is the blood because they killed, the shoichet was in the backyard, and was also there. They made the flour. So I called her, as an official rabbi, I had some power. So I called up the Gestapo.
You mean the Russian?
Yeah, the Gestapo. No, the Gestapo. To say, I'm sorry, the Russian anchor were there. So they didn't let him do nothing, and was quiet. And later on, we had another episode. We had to, because the cemetery was destroyed also in Lvov. So I had. We have to fix, There was even some graves that where they destroyed. Like here, have some monuments, like these little houses. So there, even the Jewish police in Germany, they were Jewish, but they were hiding there. But they opened there, the Germans, and they killed them. So I took. So a Russian officer was a nice man. He gave me a few Germans that were, the Russian kept them, how you call the
prisoners.
Prisoners. And they helped me to fix this. And that time, the same time I had a picture of them. Same time was I made a memorial, because this was a date where Jewish were killed in Lvov. So I spoke to the people there. You have a picture of this, and I explained them, remind them about how these Germans were. So they were upset, and they started to hit the prisoners. But right away this officer told me this against the international law. So they didn't, I appealed to them, no, I don't know nothing to them. I will show you this picture.
Do you think that the Jews would have killed these
No,
prisoners?
no, they started not killing. Killing is, I mean, I don't want to remind now what's happened. But killing, this is a strange thing by Jewish people. But just, you know, because they were, when I spoke, I knew memorial was, and I remind them what happened by the Germans. So they were angry, you know. So later on, I was another year or two in Lvov, and then before I left, I sent to Russian delegation. They brought a Rabbi Shmuel Karmelovich, and he took over the Lvov, and I became the rabbi in Gleiwitz. This is near Katowice, and I was there a few years also. And then I organized there also. The life was, we had a nice Talmud Torah, even from Warsaw. They came to, when there was examination for the Talmud Torah, they came, the chief rabbi, Rabbi Kahana, and also we had Benos for the girls, and also for the Aguda, Tzir Aguda. We had a nice community. Later on, I had here I have here cousins, Rabbi Moshe Leiter, Rabbi Wolf Leiter, so they sent me, they organized that, there was a synagogue, the first a synagogue on St. Mark's Avenue here in Bronzeville. So they sent me papers, and I became as a rabbi there to them, and then I became the rabbi. I was in Saratoga Jewish Center, Bronzeville. So I was there 18 years. It was a
Could
nice
you tell me a little bit about the survivors that you met when you were the rabbis in these cities in Europe? What was their feelings after the war? Were they angry at God? What did they generally...
Yeah, you are right. This is in the beginning. I remember in Gleiwitz was a Jewish man, a nice religious man, and he was born a boy. I told him, you will make, a circumcision. He says, I will make a circumcision, then Hitler will kill him, because this was the sign. You see, when girls could survive better than men, because by men they saw, they looked and they saw
if the boy or man was circumcised.
Yeah. So this was, you are right, they were in the beginning, they were so upset, so that we didn't thought that will be such a nice religious revival that now. Because everybody, was upset why this happened. So, but later on there was a nice religious in Gleiwitz, in Beboch, in Katowice, Lodz, Warsaw, this nice synagogues. They opened the synagogues, and it became a Jewish life. But everybody later on saw that this is not. They didn't like to be in Poland. They happened to everybody, some of the Muslims, they went to Israel, to America, to England. And
so most of the survivors did not want to remain in Europe?
No, because they said the earth is strife, blood. The whole is, what I mean, in Jewish they say, the earth is filled with blood. So mostly they were, but still not too many mine there.
So tell me about coming to America.
And here, like America, I came, so thank God I became a very nice synagogue, a nice Saratoga Jewish Center. I was there at Talmud Torah, I was the principal there also. I became a member of the rabbinic Agudat Rabbanim, and also in other rabbinic other organizations. Thank God I had I also helped some organizations, charitable organizations. I don't want to speak about me myself, but all kinds of yeshivot. I was honored even the Chinuch Atzmo in Israel, and here the Beyond Yeshiva, the original Yeshiva, the Ezra Torah. I was also honored because I helped them, all these organizations. Beyond Yeshiva. Thank God, and then I had you learned about my family. I had 3 daughters. One was born in Germany. Yeah, I forgot to say also, but it's not important. While I was a few months in Munich before I came here, so I was there in the Vata Tzova. This means to help the survivors. I was together with Rabbi Silver. He came from America, a chief rabbi, a great rabbi. So we together we were even uniforms on the UNRWA to help
that was a relief organization.
Yeah, organization there, yeah. And then here you had the three daughters. They got them. One is a Rabbi Kamenetsky in Highland Park, the rabbi. And my daughter's a very intelligent woman. She has a title doctor. Even she gives shiurim every Saturday. Very famous shiurim. The other daughter is
what's your eldest daughter's name?
Aviva. She gives her shiurim. She gives lectures for the women. So famous in the whole New Jersey. And then another daughter. This is Shulamit. She also has also intelligent psychologist. She also is in the city where in Livingston she lives. She's the chairman of the speakers that they accept speakers. That's all. I don't.
Live interview with Rabbi Israel Leiter. So you were telling me about your daughters.
Yeah, so the second one is, as I told you, she went, all of them went to Beis Yaakov first. And then they went to Stern College. And then she also has a degree, and she's now active with her husband in the synagogue in the west side of Tzedek, and she is also, not about to say in Livingston, the second, I'm sorry. And she is also, like I told you, the chairman of the rabbinical, to whoever the speakers and so forth, of the religious committee. And also...
And what's her name?
Shulamit. And her husband also was very devoted to religion. He made also in Livingston, the main synagogue is very far. So in the evening they cannot go there. So he made a minyan in his house. That in the evening the neighbors they are far should go. The third one is also the Beis Yaakov, and then she went even to a kollel from. There was a kollel for women, and she's also a medical doctor.
And what's her name?
Rabbi Leiter. And nowadays she's also she belongs to the Taharas, when they make Taharas. She's one of them, and she's also very religious, and in fact my son-in-law is a vice president in of Tzedek in the west side. They were active in the shul. They will be this year the couple of the year. They will honor them.
So it was very important for you to educate your daughters in Torah and in secular
exactly,
education.
Yeah. But thank God they became, now with it, she just made a bar mitzvah. I know it's important. So also the boys are, both of them, the yeshivas, in the camps. She sent him to Israel. She sends the boy to Sdei Chemet, a very religious camp. So it became just a few weeks ago for the bar mitzvah. So now I want to go back, what I forgot to tell you. And while I was the rabbi in Lvov, so one day came a woman with a little child. She said that the parent, before they went to the ghetto, they gave her the child to save her, the child. They were killed in the ghetto. So this child, everybody was afraid to take this child. I took her home, and we brought her here. We sent her also to Beth Yaakov here. And she was married here. She lives in Philadelphia, Vilonia. She has children already, but thank God I did something here, I say, she has a nice family now. Now about my family. My family is a rabbinical family. We came, great, from the Tarzur, from the Bach. It's a great people. So lately, in Poland, before the war, we had 11 rabbis, official rabbis in 11 cities.
From your family?
From your family. Everybody named Leiter. One was there, as I told you, the rabbi in Lvov. It was a great title.
And this was
not
Nata.
a Leiter. He was also, they said that he was, while the Germans were, and they saw that they came like the axes they make. So he was there at Talassentville. He was just waiting, like they took him like that in the Talassentville.
And he was murdered.
Yeah, and then was the other, his brother, the rabbi in Trembovla. He was a very famous rabbi. I have even pictures for him.
What was his first name?
Eliezer Leiter. So he was, the children were killed, but the priest liked him very much. So he took him to save him. So a few days before the liberation, somebody find out, and then somebody told the Gestapo, and they was killed about 2 days. And others, there was a rabbi in Ostrich, Rabbi Israel Leiter, like the same name. So they took him to Lvov, in the not how you call it, in the Yanovsky Lager, this. And the other was Ustechko, Rabbi Nucham Leiter. And the other was, just I don't remember myself, Nucham Leiter, and then the others also, I don't remember. So
of these 11 rabbis, these head chief rabbis, did any of them survive?
No, except me. But here we had before, in America we had survivors. It was a very famous Rabbi Wolf Leiter in Pittsburgh. He's out of many books. And other rabbi also, Rabbi Moshe Leiter, is an author of 7 books. He lived in Brooklyn, he was a rabbi.
So they emigrated before the war?
Born, Rabbi Moshe Leiter was in Vienna. But when Hitler came, he was from Austria. He ran away to Switzerland and then here to America. He was a rabbi here. He was an author of many books. And in Pittsburgh, he was also here before the Wolf Leiter. Yes, this is the two that also another rabbi we had here, but Rabbi Moshe Leiter. He was in the East Side, a rabbi.
So these were all uncles and cousins?
Cousins, yeah. Another rabbi was also Hesh Leiter in the Bronx. He was a rabbi. He was these rabbis that were here before the.
So Leiter was a very well-known rabbinic name.
Yeah, I have a picture. I will show you all the rabbis. And What do you want me to remind you? I mean,
Could you tell me who else what other family members were murdered?
Yeah, I told you my two brothers, and then my grandmother, and other cousins from a lot of them. I mean, what was from my mother's side was Yisroel Frankel, Hersh Frankel. Yisroel Frankel's son is in Canada. He's a very famous man. He's a philanthropist. And then the children of the Rabbi from Lvov. So the daughter, Ruchel, with her husband, Motre, and the other daughter from Penny, from her husband was died, and it was a rabbi in Podhaize. And the two children, they were students from Stanislav Yeshiva. And and here is Rabbi Leiter from Oshtichka. The daughter is she's in Israel now. She's a girl. She knew how to sew, to make clothing. So the Gentiles took her there, and she made for them dresses and so forth. This is how she was saved. But later on I found out that she's alive, so I took her to us. She was with me together in Gleiwitz, and then she was married, and she lives now in Israel.
Did you tell your children about what happened to you?
Not too much. I mean, I know you cannot, makes you so upset, but this is why Gila, she told me, with your office, about this. I have had some other cousins that I have to tell them. I don't remember myself this moment. I'm so upset. Just a minute. And now also the children also from Podai, that he was the rabbi. So one daughter was in Israel, two daughters. And two children were killed also there because they were students from Stanislav Yeshiva. And just a minute, who else?
Did many of the rabbis that you knew, did many of them survive?
No, less than everybody. I will tell you why. But the Germans, when they came, they came special first to the rabbi, and because they want to destroy the whole community. So that first of all, as I told you about my brother, and my father-in-law, he was killed. Interesting thing, he was the rabbi in Drohobych, but his father was a rabbi in Wrocław. This was very near, like Bronx with Manhattan. So his father passed away. So he was the only son. So he said, everybody said, don't go to the funeral because there's a danger the German will catch you. He says, I know, the only son, they will go to my father's funeral. So they went to the funeral and came back from the funeral. He and his brother-in-law, Rabbi Leiter or Kayach, he was also an assistant rabbi in Wrocław. So they killed him. That time they didn't kill yet because this was the beginning. And also another episode. My mother-in-law's, the mother of my wife, has a brother. The brother was Rabbi Shmuel Babat. He was a very intelligent. He was he was already appointed a rabbi by the father. He was a rabbi in Sandor Vishne. He didn't want to let him, so he was with the father. So he called me up. I was hidden, and he was also at that time hidden in Sandor Vishne. So he called me up about the father, that he passed away. He told me near a stone that I should know. But anyway, here's an episode. he was very liked, intelligent man. So a Gentile took him to Krakow, a friend, to Krakow to his friend, and he was hidden there. And while I was hidden by this Gentile, he was hidden by another. So we communicate. I sent him the beginning some money, but I couldn't go out, so I gave to the Gentile, to the woman, the letter he should send. Later on, and we communicated, he wanted to come together with us because also we had another good there. So, but I couldn't to bring him. So later on, the Gentile, the woman told me, you know, your uncle was, the Gestapo took him away. So now I think that somebody from this, because she had family here and where I was, in the same city, Shemishlane, that they knew and they told that they knew that there, because the letters went there. So she told me that he was. They came in. They found out that a Jew is hidden there, and he was killed. He was a very intelligent, a famous man, Rabbi Shmuel Babat. Was him. I forgot this little. So this is some others. I cannot concentrate now myself because I think.
So all these rabbis that you knew, in other words, the Gestapo came early for them.
They were the first, how you call it, the first korban is the first sacrifice, because they started from the rabbi. They knew that they will destroy the rabbi and the Jews. That will be. In the beginning, they didn't kill everybody. This is the story. I think we have enough.
If you could leave one message for the world about what happened to you and your experiences, what would that message be?
The message would be that you cannot believe that nothing will happen now. That this is such, because even we didn't believe there also. I remember one Yid said, because if we will remember, we will believe, so everybody will run away, because the Russians want to take there. But I think a neighbor said, "Me scheiß nicht, don't worry, me schieß nicht." Nobody believed that this be. This is why we could be saved, because who believed that, they taught me this rumors only. So this is a message that you can never know what has happened, that we should be very careful. And if started, even now I'm surprised, worried. I see the cemeteries this was at the beginning in Poland. In Poland, the Poles, they were nice people, they were nice neighbors like here. But when they start in the beginning, the Hitler with his Mein Kampf, the book, Mein Kampf, that he started to preach against the Jewish people, against this. So this is such a thing that, this is sketchy. So we have to be very careful now also, that whatever has happened, we should not ignore this. We should be very careful and try let's hope to God that will not be, that people already the world learned a lesson what can happen, because the Hitler killed the Gentiles also already later, because if they start to be a killer. But even now, but I don't have to speak to this now, is also, I'm surprised that a Jew killed a Jew now with Rabin, because I even preach that whenever I speak, that one thing Jewish people can be, in money not so, or like swindlers and so, but killing, this is such a thing that never happened by Jew. This is why we are everybody surprised now about Yitzhak Rabin, because a Jew is not a killer. That's everybody knows and knew in all the years. This is a thing that never happened by that. But now it happened also this. So,
I'd like to thank you so much for
welcome.
sharing your
Yeah.
story with us.
so yeah, you're welcome. I hope this will help that people will know.
Rabbi, could you identify this picture for us?
Yeah, this is my mother, Oleha Shulam. She was a very intelligent, religious woman. She helped poor people. This was her goal in life.
Could you tell us her full name?
Her name is Friday Turner from her home. Her grandfather was a great man. He was out of the books, Der Chaim, from Samuel Turner.
Where did you find this painting?
This painting in Israel by a cousin. This is a picture was after the wedding of my brother Rabbi Leiter. This picture was made in Tarnopol, where my brother's wife, she is from Tarnopol, and this is made in Tarnopol. So on the left side, this is myself, and then then this is Adelka, and this is a sister of my brother's wife. And the other is Angie, she's now in Israel. And the other, the Angie, is also a sister of my sister-in-law. And then is my brother's wife. And then is my brother's wife's Clara Tirkel. And my brother's Zvi Leiter. And this is the parents of my brother's wife. This is Dvora Tirkel, and this is Shloime Tirkel. They are very nice, famous people, rich people from Tarnopol. And then is their son, Loshi. He was a yeshiva boy, a fine Talmud Chochem.
And this was taken in what year?
This was taken about 1933 or 34, 1933 maybe, yeah. 1933, yeah.
And who had this picture?
This picture I found here by my uncle Rabbi Leiter. My cousin Rabbi Moshe Leiter.
Could you please identify this picture?
Yeah, this picture is my brother Zvi Leiter, who was later the rabbi in Augustov, and his wife Clara. She, as I told, she is the daughter of the Tirkels from Tarnopol. This was the engagement picture.
So this was in 1930?
Probably 1932, maybe 30. I think 1933, yeah.
Rabbi, could you please identify this
Yeah.
picture?
This is my brother, the older brother, Yankov Leiter, and this is his wife, Jente Saft, a daughter of Shachne Saft from Lemberg. And this is the engagement picture.
Rabbi, could you tell me about this book?
This book is Socialism in Yadus. When he was 17 years old, so he printed this book, because that time was a lot of youth, they believed in socialism, in communism. So he explained them that the Torah is also socialist. The Torah is also that we should treat good workers, and we are not against socialism. And he wants to, and then he writes even that later on the Paul Aguda, they were the same. They were encouraged from his book and when they organized the Parlagude. She writes about this.
So this is written by your brother,
Yaakov
Rabbi Yaakov Leiter.
Yaakov Leiter. Later he was the rabbi in Gwozditz.
Could you identify this picture for me?
This is a picture of my family's after a wedding from my cousin, the daughter of Rabbi Leiter, the Tambovler Roof. All of them are my cousins, rabbis, and all of them were killed, except two are not from the family.
But they were killed as
They
well.
were killed as well, yeah. I mean,
Rabbi, could you identify this group picture?
yeah. And this is a family picture, and this on the left I'm starting. This is Chaim Leiter. He's an author of a book, a Lomdische book that from in Vienna, some writing from all the Gdolim that were in Vienna after the first war. And then this is, the other is Rabbi Heschel Leiter. He was a rabbi in Bronx. And then this is the Rabbi Yechiel Mechel Leiter. He was the rabbi in Donayev, and then he was in the east side, the rabbi of Zlochov. And then this is Rav Moshe Leiter. He was in Vienna first, and then he was in America. A Sterling place, he was the rabbi. He's an author of many books. And this is Rav Shmuel. Rav Ashkenazi, the Ruf from Yasarov. And this is the son, Nussen Zvi Leiter. He's the son of Rabbi Moshe Leiter. He lives in Scranton, so sagen gesund. This is Mordechai Leiter. He passed away. Mordechai Leiter. And this is Rav Mordechai Leiter from Ogerne. He is the Rav Moshe Leiter, the Ruf from Zewalov, and then he was Ruf here on the Lemberg on the east side. And this is Wolf Leiter. He was the famous rabbi in Pittsburgh and out of many books. He is the Zewalov Ruf, Rav Moshe Leiter, the Zewalov Ruf. He was Ruf in Zewalov and then in New York. This is the Trebbe Ruf Eliezer Leiter. He was Ruf in Tambovle. This is Rav Nussen Leiter. He was the Ruf in Lemberg. And this is the Ruf cousin. Yeah, a cousin. He was a Ruf in. Oh no, it's not good. He was a Ruf in Yasser, the son of Agus Karnarayim. Now this is the Ruf Oshchechko. This is Nuchem Leiter. This is my brother Tzvi Leiter, Rav Tzvi Leiter, the Ruf in Jagerstov. This is Rav Yaakov Leiter, the Ruf in Gwozditz. This is myself, Yisroel Leiter, and this is Rav Yisroel Leiter, also there was Ruf in Oshchechko. And this is Rav Mordechai Zucker. He was the son-in-law of my uncle, Rav Nussen Leiter and Lvov. That's all.
Why could you identify this newspaper picture?
Yeah, this is a newspaper picture. When I was, this is on the cemetery of Janowska Street in Lemberg. When this was while there was a memorial, this was a date when there was an action when many people were killed in Lvov. So we gathered and we fixed that time also the stones that were destroyed, and I spoke to the occasion of to memorialized all the victims. So.
Rabbi, could you please identify this picture?
Yeah, this is on the right side. This is myself. This is in Gleiwitz, where I was the official rabbi. And the other gentlemen are this is the president and all the officers from the congregation.
Rabbi, please identify this picture.
This is a picture where Chanukah party was in the Talmud Torah of Saratoga Jewish Center, where I was the rabbi. So I delivered a speech that time on the occasion of the Chanukah party.
Rabbi, please identify this picture.
Yeah, this is a picture that was made when I came to Israel and for the Chinuch Hatzmui and also for the Russian people that I was sent. From the Agudas Israel. So this is on the left side is Rabbi Grosberg, the chairman of Chinuch Hatzmui. Then is myself. Then the chief rabbi of the Ashkenazi rabbi from Israel, and also Rabbi Shor from Torah V'das, and also the rabbi from Hebron. That's all I said. I cannot. But I don't know about the Russian business.
Rabbi, please identify this picture.
Yeah. This is a picture that I took care and I was active. It was an organization that to help fix the destroyed cemeteries in Europe. So that was that's all. After the war, yeah.
Where was this taken?
It was taken here in Borough Park, and the chairman was Rabbi Rubin. There was also Henkel. This is a picture that was taken in the rabbinical board of Flatbush. We went to the occasion of the birthday of the rabbi, and they told me to represent them and to speak to the rabbi. So this is the picture. I even told I even told to the rabbi that he is mekarev rechoikim that time in my speech. That means he likes, he tries to educate people that they don't know about nothing about Judaism. He said you should not say rechoikim, that they are strangers. They are kol Yisroel Chavayim. Everybody is a Jew in a Chava.
This is the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Lubavitcher Rebbe said, yeah. That's all.
Rabbi, could you please introduce your Rebbitzin?
This is my wife, Esther Leiter, the daughter of Rab Sholem Leiter, Rab Sholem Labin, of Bezen the Hobbit, and Feige Labin. This is my mother-in-law.
Rebbitzin, you've been married 55 years. Could you tell me a little bit about the times you've had together?
Yes, we had different times together. There were ups and downs, but in general, the times were good. I'm very proud of my husband. He's a very good husband, a terrific father. He brought up wonderful three children, and now I'm happy with it. What should I say?
When you were in hiding together, did your being with your husband keep you going?
Yes, very much so. I was very down, and there were times that I really wanted to die. I believed that we'll survive somehow. And I didn't believe that we will survive. And if we'll be the only Jews in this world and to survive. He gave me a lot of courage, and I had to live because I was with him. Being alone, I would not have survived. This is a definite.
I'd like to thank the two of you for being interviewed today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can eat low-fat and still have great taste with Hellman's low-fat mayonnaise dressing. It tastes so delicious you won't believe it has only 1 gram of fat.
What?